Hello, welcome to season number 4. And I can't say Steven Speak any longer. I can't say Steven Speak because I've rebranded, as you've probably seen on social media. So the show's now called Infinite Prattle. Formerly Steven Speak, but for series 4 and for the foreseeable future, we are now Infinite Prattle because if you've listened to my podcast previously, then you know that I can ramble on potentially infinitely. If you're new to the podcast, then hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're in for a wild ride. I would like to say that I'm more organised this season, but my wife will attest. So today I'm recording everything for the podcast, including intros and outros, etc., all in one go, and it's been a disaster. But you know, let's get into it and let's hear that. Let's hear that new intro sound. Well, there's the first mistake of the new series. Pressing the wrong button. Welcome to Series 4. You're listening to Infinite Prattle! With your host, Steven. Thanks for joining me for unscripted, unedited, everything. Oh, what do you think about that intro? It cuts off a bit abruptly, actually. I might need to change that. I was expecting the symbol to carry on as it used to do, but oh well. If you don't know about this show by now, then you'll never know. It's full of cock-ups and me banging into things and doing things that I shouldn't be doing, messing with things on the fly, as I'm doing now, because setting up your mic prior to actually starting recording anything it's my priority. I've started my own media company, as probably some of you might know, and this is the professional level you'll get with my services. Obviously, if it's for you, I would take more care. Just drinking my brew, so apologies. I just recorded the intro there on my phone. I did say I was going to do like video. I don't know. By the way, this episode has no target, has no subject of whatsoever. I've no idea what I'm going to do. I know what the next episode is going to be. The next episode is going to be, I don't even remember, Johnny came on the show. He came on, when was it? Oh, series, it would be series 3, I think. And, was it series 3? Series 2? I don't know. I'll check, you can go back and check, you know. But yeah, he came on and was talking about a trip that he'd done to the Antarctic. It's a great episode, over 2 episodes to be fair. And towards the end of last year, I think it was like the start of December, the end of November, myself, my wife came with us that time. So we went up and saw him again and recorded another episode about a trip that he did last year after I recorded the episode with him. I think it was pretty much nearly a year today that we recorded the episode, and it went out in like the January, so it could have been series 2. So we recorded another 2 episodes, Johnny. So the first part of that 2-parter again is going to be next week's show. So at least I've got something organised already, and I've got a few people in the works to record another couple of podcasts as well. Fingers crossed. I've got to get in contact with them this week. My admin's been terrible. I had a bit of a break, as you know, like regular listeners will know. The last episode was like December. Like the first week of December, I think it was. Maybe the second. Should have probably checked before I started talking about it. Series 4, rebranded, Infinite Prattle, same old Steven. So I wanted a bit of a break. Work's been quite difficult. I think probably my brain's a little bit burnt out. I've not really had even though I've had holidays, I've never really, it's not been long enough to relax. I feel like I need like a complete month away from everything. The first 2 weeks just to like get my brain back to a normal level, and then 2 weeks then to enjoy before I come back to like the real world. So it's been quite difficult for my brain to concentrate on anything really. I've had a nice break from the podcast, and it's the way my brain works. It's things stay in my brain for a long time before I action anything. And that's in everything I do, really, if I'm honest with you. So that's stuff around the house. So I've been potentially building some wardrobes for a while. I know what I'm going to do. in my brain when I have to buy some stuff, and probably actually write some sort of plan down. And that kind of goes through everything that I do. So I've been thinking about changing the podcast for a while to a different name to separate it from, as I say, I've started, like, I've gone as a sole trader for production stuff, because you remember one of the episodes last year I told you that I'd create like a soundscape for a local charity, local heritage centre for the railway. And I could have charged for that service, but having never done it before, I didn't feel I could, didn't want to be honest. But having achieved, I think, what was quite a good, for having never done it before, I think it was quite good. I think I'm underselling myself there, because I got some really good feedback, a good soundscape and a good first attempt. And I'll keep using the word good, but you insert your own word that's more descriptive and entitles me to more praise. So from that, my brother basically said he's been into like audio stuff for years, like DJing, doing sound production and stuff like that for various stuff. He studied at uni, so he said, you could have probably charged them quite a lot of money, like, and I think he was quite impressed with what I did. So I was quite impressed with that, because I hold my brother in high esteem for stuff like that. And got my car keys in my pocket for some reason, I don't know why. Anyway, this episode is going really well. I'm blaming the stress of like recording the intro and outro. Everything's so compressed. I thought it was going to be easy. My computer's been having a paddy. The software I use on my Mixcast, audio, I can't find words today. Audio interface. Software kept crashing for some reason. It turns out I think it was to do with my Skull Candy Player TMNT headphones being the output sound source, it seems. As soon as I disconnected them, it seemed to work. Anyway, my brother was quite impressed with the soundscape I created. New listeners, this is what they're all like. They are sometimes interesting. Hold on, I do say stuff that's interesting sometimes. I'm talking quite quickly as well because I'm excited about being back. I've missed doing this. I must admit, it's weird. I didn't want to just record anything. I probably should have just recorded some episodes and then I could have added in the new jingle afterwards. What do you think about that, by the way? It's a bit more snappy than the old one. Now I've got like 4 subjects open. Yeah. So my brother was impressed with the soundscape and basically said I probably could have charged quite a lot of money for it. And it kind of got me thinking, it's stuff that I enjoy. And I actually managed to put it together really quickly. It was in my head, basically. This is where I'm going with it. It was in my head for a long time what I could do to achieve the things I wanted to achieve. And I had to submit it to the council and the person that was going to review it on a Tuesday. Okay? So I had a deadline of this Tuesday. We were going to, I was going to send it to them, or we were going to meet up and listen to it. And basically, that was probably like a week before the exhibition opened, or a few days before it opened. And I did nothing literally up to the Sunday before. I kind of opened up Logic Pro once and kind of had a play around with some sounds using my little Akai. Is that how you say it? Akai? A-K-A-I? Got a little MIDI keyboard. I had to mess around with some of the sounds on that weeks before. And then went, I'll sort something. And that's kind of how it was. And I was just kind of noting stuff down. Every time I thought of something, I'd got a little note thing in my phone with about 6 bullet points. And it was just the sounds of people walking and brushing up, the sounds of a big drill, big impact sounds, someone dropping some tools, the sounds of the doors opening in the morning. And on the Sunday before, it all became one, basically. And I think that's what I'm getting with. Everything stays in my brain quite a lot. And I find it very difficult, even if I write stuff down, that doesn't always help. Talking through it helps. So, in a weird loop, infinitely, talking about stuff really helps me. Ironically, I've never done counselling and think it's a bit weird to talk to strangers about stuff, although I talk to strangers regularly about crap. Including yourselves, you good people that listen along to my crap. So, yeah, and I think I wanted to take the break from the podcast, and I wanted to take a break for my own benefit and just kind of focus on home life and work and just doing stuff that I wanted. But I really, really miss doing this. it's been a little stressful today with my software and stuff not working, but I really miss just coming up to this mic. And I kind of like being unprepared. It's something I'm really learning about myself, and it's something that I don't know whether I can change it. I've always known that I work really good under pressure, i.e. that soundscape I was just on about. And just having confidence. I have like a weird, sometimes misplaced confidence in the fact I can just do it. I will muddle through and I will produce a result. And it's kind of what I've always kind of done. And it's probably not the best because it does stress me out, but I also then produce good results from that. And I kind of do that in my work. I kind of do it in my personal life. And it also weirdly brings me like a massive amount of satisfaction to do that. So it's really bizarre. I'm really wondering what the AI is going to do with me rambling right now, because I'm now using AI to like kind of listen to the podcast and like create, like, I think I've mentioned this, create like a description and transcript, and I'm talking that fast, and randomly it creates its own version of what the title should be of the show, like this each episode. So I'm kind of intrigued about what it'll come up with, and even if it'll be able to distinguish what the hell I'm saying, because I'm rambling at a rate of knots today. If this is your first example of the show, it does get slightly better. I am a bit more calm. I sometimes have a subject, and sometimes it's not until I walk up to the microphone. You know, we've all heard me dozens of times just say, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Kind of got an idea, and then it comes out. But what I'm trying to say is, I've missed this. I've missed you guys. Even though you're not here, but you know what I mean. I've missed that. Just saying anything I want to in a microphone and getting it out of me and putting it into the ether, and then knowing that someone somewhere is listening to it, and that's kind of nice. And I hope people get something out of it. Like, I hope people listen to me today and just go, God, that's exactly what I'm like. Yeah, and we don't have to put a label on it, you know. I mentioned before that, you know, my wife thinks I'm maybe a bit autistic or ADHD kind of spectrumy, and maybe I am. And the more I kind of evaluate myself, the more I think it could be so. But I don't need a label. We don't need to label that. We don't always have to have a label on everything. You know, you can get through life, and you just have to know yourself. And I have that tattoo on my arm in Latin. Know thyself in Latin. Because I think it's important to remind yourself to you know, just to be you. And I'm trying to, and it's difficult recently, is what I'm saying. God. If you can decipher this, please email me, contact me, message me on Instagram, and tell me what the hell I'm on about. What I'm trying to say is my brain is messed up, and I've needed some time just to chill out, but I've missed the show. That's the summary. And the rebrand thing, as much as I really want to do it on season 4, and I've had like 4 weeks off, again, procrastination, leaving stuff to the last minute is just my jam. I think that's just how I do. That's just, you know, I've had other things on as well. You know, I've been doing the bands, 2 bands I'm in now, lead singer of 2 bands, and I'd like to say my voice is getting a bit better, getting a bit more confident. You know, really enjoyed it. It'd be nice to get out there, and I may, with permission, I've been recording some of the practices. So once we've done a bit more practicing, with permission, I might play a bit over the airwaves on one of the podcasts for you. I might even get the band actually on the podcast. That'd be cool. Maybe get the band on the podcast. That'd be pretty epic, wouldn't it? So anyway, yeah. So Infinite Prattle. So the rebranding was because I was coming back to this. I was trying to separate, like, starting off as like a sole trader for my media business. So the whole thing about my media business is going to be called it is called Stephen Speak Media Production. And I just want to get out there and just like help people make podcasts, maybe MC for some people, you know, host. I mean, I'm quite confident. I don't mind standing in front of a room of strangers and just talking and comparing. So I don't mind doing that. You know, and it also expands into the whole potential video production, photography, which I really like and I want to get back into. So it's kind of a plethora. What a good word, plethora of like how that feels in my mouth. Some words just feel good, don't they? Yeah. I kind of like want to get back on track with all of that because it brings me joy and it's creative, and that's what I need to do. So I'm getting back in with my music stuff, which is it makes me want to cry with happiness, and I want to get back in with more of that creative stuff of producing music, producing sounds, and helping others do that as well. And I think that'll bring me joy, and it will hopefully give me a little bit of income. And I'm not I'm a sole trader, so it means I can claim some VAT back on the stuff I'm buying for the podcast or for my venture. Whether I make anything, I'll just hit my hand on my desk. I'm talking my hands a lot today. If it was videoed it, you'd see. Come back to that. So yeah, I'm speaking a lot with my hands today. I feel very energetic. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. Let me know what you think of the new logo and stuff. Actually. The new logo, again, I do this. I've been sketching in my my Kindle Scribe, just doing cracking little device, by the way. I've been just doodling little things. And first, I was going to rebrand the Stephen Speak as a podcast and have Stephen Speak Media Production and Stephen Speak Podcast. But then I was thinking, I think I need to separate it a little bit. I want to separate it. So I started thinking, what do I do? And I love the word prattle. I started adding that into my hashtags and stuff like that. And the history of the word prattle, not the history of the word prattle, the history of where I heard it and where I wanted to use it from was I was watching a John Cleese interview. Was it John? No, it was Monty Python. It was Monty Python. I was watching the Monty Python series, and in one of the episodes, John Cleese basically has this rant, and he goes, "Oh yeah, prattling on," and I thought, what a cracking word prattle is. This is just, it makes me happy to say it, and I don't care if people say I prattle on. I feel like prattle is you're prattling on, but I feel like if you're rambling, it's kind of like without meaning. But I feel like prattle is someone saying something of content, but it's for an extended period of time, which is what I do. So that's my like understanding of the word prattle in the context of Infinite Prattle and former Stephen Speak. And I think the whole infinite thing is just, I think people have said for years, like, you could talk forever, and forever is infinite, isn't it? So I thought, well, the simplest way of doing it, again, Stephen Speak was a simple title, and I thought Infinite Prattle. So I was doodling infinite, and I was doodling with the end of the E, how to end the E, and I decided, oh, actually, that could be the infinity sign. So if you look on the logo, infinite is the infinity sign. And I wanted it to kind of look handwritten, almost like the Men in Black font from the film. And I was going to clean it up and make it look like, try and make it look cleaner but handwritten at the same time. And in the end, I used my first draft and polished it up a little bit and used that as the logo. So I might make a slight rendition of it at some point. Rendition? Is that the right word? Revision of it at some point. To make it look a bit more professional. I've got maybe add the word podcast for certain logo usages. But yeah, so my new slogan is unscripted, unedited, everything. Because I think that kind of sums up Infinite Prattle, unscripted, unedited, everything. And yeah, so that's what we are now. We are Infinite Prattle. Sound like the collective. Sound like the Borg. So if you are new to the podcast, and you've got to this point, thank you. Definitely go back and listen to Stephen Speak, because it's much the same, just under a different guise. And there's quite a few episodes in the first and second series that haven't had as many listens as I think they deserve, to be honest. I think some of them episodes are really cracking, and I think they deserve a bit more love. But as a first episode of season 4 goes, that kind of brings it to the end. Yes, I'm really looking forward to the AI now when I process this. This is going to be interesting, to say the least. But thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for supporting the show. My numbers went up last year. I've made the top 100 in good pods on 5 different areas. So 2024 onwards and upwards with Infinite Prattle. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. thanks for listening to Infinite Prattle with your host, Stephen. Follow me on social networks at Infinite Prattle, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks very much.